Hi Capricorn, here is a general look at your solar chart for July 2015. And every year at this time the Sun is in your opposite sign, Cancer, and so that kind of means that you will tend to do better if you team up with somebody else, or if you cooperate with somebody else and not go it alone. But however it is, in whatever situation you're in, there's likely to be more of a mutuality, a more reciprocity going on. Mars is in there as well, and that means that exchanges with another could be lively at times. And because of the agenda of another, it can put quite a demand on you, or you mean that you have to be decisive and you have to take action. You and another could elicit strong opinions in each other, but at the same time, if you are, keep a cool head and you're patient, then you can make progress with the master plan. But it does also mean that you can be too hasty in a relationship, or in jumping into things a little bit too quickly, although that isn't quite the character of your sign. It can happen to the best of us. So just to be aware of that. And also after the 9th, Mercury is combining influences with the Sun and Mars, all in this same area of your chart in your opposite sign. That's between the 9th and the 24th. So communications, personal or professional, should be quite dynamic, and also bouncing ideas, comparing notes. That's all likely, and you are not necessarily convinced by somebody else, or they're not necessarily convinced by you even, but at least that helps both of you crystallize your thinking, hopefully in a friendly sort of a way. Speaking of friendly, apart from July the 19th to August the 1st, when she tends to bring positive interactions with others in relationship or negotiations, Venus is in a place of emotional depth. So something or somebody can touch your feelings quite deeply over this time here. It's great for the romantics amongst you. And also for those of you working in a sort of kind of a healing way, a psychic kind of way. And Venus here could also manifest as somebody helping you out in a relationship, or somebody who's helping you out, who tends to be there as a support for you. That can be emotionally, and that can also be materially as well. In fact, possibly with the exception of one other position, this position of Venus can really help you out materially. So it is a good time to maybe apply for funding if you need to, or acquire or apply or acquire certain resources to benefit your interests, or maybe your joint material interests with another. And also with Venus here, negotiations tend to go your way. Some of you could feel like shifting into more commitment with a partner, or a business partner it can be as well, or with somebody that you feel as though you want to get closer with. You just feel more involved. There's more involvement going on with whoever, about whatever. And a relationship could revolve around a shared space, possessions. There could be sort of sharing feeling going on. It also could be that property is highlighted, contracts, agreement is highlighted. And again here, the tendency with Venus and at the same time Jupiter here, that the cards would be stacked in your favor, but don't leave it, procrastinate or leave it too long before maybe you reach out, because Jupiter is going to be moving out of there in August, leaving Venus there until October. So you still will have Venus there. Now, your sign has got this transit of Pluto, and this is a real game changer for you. This is, sometimes we don't quite pick up on it, the fact that this is a kind of a, without putting too fine a point on it, a sort of a major destiny crossroads, because here, and there are no mistakes with this one, so don't worry about that, don't fret about that, but here there is a moment in this particular lifespan that you're in where the Pluto energy is asking you to undergo an emotional transformation, a real deepening and maturing. And because we stick so much to the way it always was and how it always worked before, we don't quite get it quick enough. But when we do start to realize that we aren't in control here anymore, and that it's the universe that's got this master plan, which actually, call it the universe, let's call it the higher self, which has got the master plan, then we begin to let go. And that's exactly a key theme of Pluto's, letting go. You know, you're a very security-orientated sign. You're a sign that has got a very long memory and deep roots in the past. All of us are a product of our histories. But your sign and your opposite sign, Cancer, have a real kind of strong grip on the way it was rather than the way it may be. So this time in your life, particularly those of you born between the 3rd to the those of you born the 3rd to the 6th of January, or with 13 to 15 degrees rising, and also those of you born between the 9th and the 12th of January, or with 19 to 21 degrees rising, you're the guys that are really in the sort of like the central corridor of the strongest, hottest part of this flame of this energy, right? And this is a real initiation, and sometimes you don't know which way is up. And then other times you get this kind of oasis of calm, and it's almost as though you become detached from it all and almost like see it from above. And then you realize, you begin to get what is happening. But really, I would say, having been there and done it and got the t-shirt, that it's not going to be for a while after the transit's over, like a year or two after the transit's finished, that you really begin to appreciate just exactly what you have achieved. Because there will be a series of letting goes and breakthroughs with this transit. So, those of you that I've mentioned this month, but between the 5th and the 7th, there's going to be a little bit more pressure on you. You're going to get another little plutonic flurry going on there. To let go of something, to realize something, to come up again. Maybe you have to do it by coming up against a resistance. In order to let go, so that you can get past that resistance or over it, and then to feel the relief of the weight off your shoulders, because you realize once you do finally let that perspective go, or that piece of clutter go, that you didn't really need it in the first place. Or why did I think that was written in stone? It actually, everything is malleable, everything is elastic, really. But you are a cardinal sign, and cardinal signs are the movers and shakers of this world. You are the entrepreneurs of the zodiac. And you have very, very strong principles. But when these planets of evolution, of transformation, of transmutation are at work, then you begin to get this sense of, well, you know, was that a movie? I mean, is this a movie? You know, I mean, is that really happening? Because it never used to. You know, I was always, I was taught, or I had the example, if you responded this way to what's going on in your life, then it would come, you know, everything would sort of come right. But in fact, this is a bigger thing than you or I. This is on the higher self level. So yes, interesting times indeed. And also, just to mention, Uranus also will be going over the degree of the Sun, or the Sun over the degree of Uranus, between the 11th and the 14th, particularly there. But again, it decreases as the degrees get wider apart. but you might still feel that even though you're a few degrees away. It depends on the natal chart and other things. But a slightly tenser time, a slightly jittier time, a time, again, especially those of you born within those degrees that I said, the dates 9th to the 12th of January, you want to be defending and protecting your right to relax and your right to have deep sleep. That's very, very, very important, because there might be that 3 o'clock in the morning waking up thing going on. With this here, it rules the parasympathetic nervous system, and the power of the planetary vibrations is, if you're going through these transits, you cannot but fail to notice them. But as I say, it depends on the basic natal chart, how much and in what way you're noticing them. This isn't just the sun sign in the sun sign chart. So for you, it's all about personal improvement. It's about your personal life with Pluto. And then with Uranus, it is all about the root of your life, your beginnings, your upbringing, your history, your past, and your physical location. And that's likely to feel as though it's uncertain. It's kind of a movable feast. You have this energy kind of darting around everywhere, which is maybe changing things at the root of your life, and changing the foundations of your life, but also changing your emotional equilibrium as well, particularly those of you born close in with those degrees, or with those degrees rising. And so if you need to do whatever you can to deliberately make sure that you relax. You have this relaxing time every day. You take herbs for sleep if you need to, that you watch your adrenals, because both of these transits can be quite harsh on the adrenal glands and the levels of DHEA, cortisol. Look it up on the internet, and there's medical astrologers as well who talk about that. So yeah, and you're looking after yourself. You're not just looking after everybody else. Your primary responsibility really is to look after yourself during this extremely special and transformational time in your life. Now, where was I? So we have this very fortunate position of Venus, apart from from July the 19th to August the 1st, in which case she just pops into Virgo and is in a very, very good angle to your sun sign, in a rather sort of more expansive area there. Then Mercury moves from your opposite side. Well, actually the Sun moves into a gear shifting area. So I've spoken about gear shifting anyway. Well, the Sun actually moves into that area of transformational energy. It's transformational energy. It's and it's also Mercury moving in there. So there'll be much more emphasis on that area there. It'll also turn your mind inwards, and you will be thinking about deeper truths, asking yourself deeper questions, feeling and sensing more intuitively, far more intuitively from the 23rd onwards. And answers will come more through the intuition then, I think, or through the omens or the portents. Just being led, allowing yourself to be more led to that answer that you're seeking. But make sure you state clearly to, shall we call it, the higher self of the universe, what it is that you are seeking. Make sure you're very clear about that, and then just let it go and wait for it to happen. And transition will occur when through mutual action with or challenge from another, and it can be the mutual action coming from maybe the unseen realms as well. Your instinct, so call it, tells you what is the best course to follow. Now, you will be feeling a little bit more sensitive when the Sun and Mercury go into that area there. So just, again, be kind to yourself and don't put yourself in situations which are iffy, dodgy, whether, especially also there, but also between the 5th and the 7th as well. Don't kind of go into a dive or into a dodgy neighborhood or anything like that, I would say. or just hang out with kind of people that you kind of know are bad for you, but you just want to do it anyway because of that little devil in there, which is really kind of cute, but you might not think that on other occasions, strangely enough. So it's to do with perception as well. Saturn is now in a more helpful angle to your sun sign, having moved back into Scorpio, and this means that you can be more successful if you put a steady flow of energy into anything over the internet, group connections, networking, friendships, either over the internet or not, a hierarchy, a kind of specialist group of people that have got certain things and interests in common, all of that that you can steadily chip away at, find your place in the pecking order, find your level, or it might be that you take on more responsibility because of a group in a group context. And that can be family, extended family as well. It can be people that you just sort of associate with on those occasions, or people that you know even better. You may become disenchanted with the old or order of things, way of thinking about things, the old group. You know, you may feel like, I'm not fitting in with this anymore, especially if you've got Pluto pretty close in your life as well, because that's another one of the sneaky little Pluto tricks, is to kind of make us feel as though we're a fish out of water when in situations that fit quite fine before. And also Uranus can do that as well. So this is a time for progress, but slow, steady as you go progress. You Capricorns born the 17th to the 21st of January, or with from 27 degrees rising, are to feel that energy the most this month. And I just want to say that Venus and Jupiter both kind of meet Saturn from the 10th onwards for Venus, and from the 21st onwards for Jupiter. So that might mean that you, even though she is in this fortunate position for you, which is also, you know, did I say emotional supporting and an emotional bridging coming to you from another, but it can mean coming from you for another as well. Make sure that it is your choice, of course. Don't be keel-hauled into it, kind of, you know, lassoed into it. But from the 10th onwards, because Saturn is more in the mix there, even though Saturn's in a really good angle to your sun sign, so it's not going to be dire or dramatic or anything like that, but it might mean that you've got to work harder to do with that material benefit or emotional benefit, whether it's coming to you or from you. There's just more to push against there. And you need to be more persevering, but you might feel, if it's business or, you know, in that more formal side of life, less supported than you were. Or it might be in the personal side of life that you just feel a little bit kind of on your own there for a while, for whatever the reason. So expect that, because that is possibly what will come, but it is relatively brief. And then the Jupiter-Saturn one, which goes on well into August, is something chosen by you about 7 years ago and coming up to be tested now. Maybe it's the ramifications of a certain path you set off on 7 years ago. And you may have to do some rethinking there, because if it's not allowing to grow and flourish in the way that you'd like, then there have to be some rethinking going on, because it's the first testing, and the next testing might be even harsher if you don't take steps there. And it may be time to let part of it or all of it go, because you realize that now you need to kind of swing and move in another direction. There could also be a bit of a squeeze on your feeling of expansion and pushing into new areas or new territories in your mind as well. But just take things step by step, steady as you go, and you will be successful. And that's it for July. If you know your rising sign or your moon sign, listen to those. And also, this is free for all to see on my website, this material that I've been working from here, the basics of it. And so you can check that out if you want to. And I'll see you the next time.